I've been seeing my girlfriend for a little over 3 months now. Initially, I was over the moon that I won her affection, but as things continued, it cooled off a bit. I still enjoy her company and definitely still like her, but I'm definitely not in love with her yet. Is this normal 3 months in? Am I wasting each other's time if I'm not in love at this point? This is my first relationship, by the way. Story 1. I have had relationships where I was hopelessly in love very early, and they turned bad very fast. I have also had relationships where I did not really have strong feelings until we had been dating for a while, and they have been some of my best relationships. I am currently engaged and very much in love with a relationship like this. Every relationship is different. Love is not always immediate. If you want to be there, then be there. Just be very upfront with your feelings. Story 2. I have. It was the best experience I ever had, every single time, and she was fun as ever. I don't think she really loved me either. It was not a waste of time. We were both products of divorce and will not get married again. We went on many adventures, and it was probably the happiest 2 years of my life. When her ex got out of prison, she told me it's best we stop seeing each other. You don't want to be a part of this, she said. Story 3. Real love is a deep, stable, and secure feeling that takes a long time to develop. On the other hand, falling in love, as in getting a crazy and exciting anxiety-filled crush on someone, can happen suddenly and disappear just as quickly. It's exciting if it's mutual or painful if not. I put much more value on the first than the last. It's not really about falling instantly in love. If you keep enjoying your time together, then don't worry too much about it and just see what happens. But if you're just staying for the physical aspect and she's expecting more, then it's better to end it. Story 4. Please don't get dating advice from Reddit. People here are wonderful, but when it comes to dating, you should make your own decisions and learn to live with them. Story 5. A lot of people on the internet like to say, you know you're in love when, or wow, those two are perfect for each other because, so stupid. Relationships are incredibly complex, and the definition of love or a successful relationship depends on what you want out of it. Are you happy? Does your partner enrich your life? If you answer yes to both of those, then it sounds like you're doing pretty all right. Story 6. Yes, she is now my wife. I did not have the head over heels response I had in previous relationships, but it built into something better and long-lasting 34 years. Story 7. Yes, I didn't even like my ex-husband when I met him. He annoyed me and was too nice. Somehow, after about 6 months of his persistence, I gave him a chance. We ended up married and had 5 kids together. It turns out his early kindness was actually a show. He turned out to be abusive. Since we've been divorced, we have become good friends, though, so I guess that's a positive outcome. Story 8. Personally, I don't think you know if you are in love with someone until 3 to 6 months in. So, yes, I've dated people who I wasn't in love with. We enjoyed each other's company and had fun. That's all there is, really. Story 9. My last girlfriend said she loved me after 3 months, and I did not feel the same. I still liked her and enjoyed spending time with her, but love was definitely not how I felt about her. The relationship was done when I realized it was probably never going to get there. My current girlfriend said she loved me after a month of dating, and I said it back immediately. I knew I was in love, and we've been together for 3 years. There's no formula for it. Sometimes it happens right away, and sometimes it takes a little longer. You'll know when you know one way or another. Story 10. Do not expect to fall in love very quickly, but if you are not feeling it, you are not feeling it. I was in a relationship for just over a month, but I ended it because I felt there was not a strong future there. Go with your instincts, but do not do something you will regret. Story 11. If you see a possibility of a future together, give it a few more weeks. If you know for sure you will never marry her or have kids with her, then let her go now. Story 12. I'll admit I'm not a man, but this question interested me. My current boyfriend told me he loved me within a month of dating me, but I wasn't necessarily ready, so I held off for a while. Quite honestly, even then, I ended up saying it before I was ready. 2.5 years into our relationship, and I am definitely in love with him. I think it just took me a while to get to that point, and that's normal for a lot of people. Story 13. Not sure if I was in love with my significant other until 6 months in, and even after I knew I was in love, I questioned if it would work. There were many times I asked myself the same questions you are asking now. But some little voice inside me kept saying to wait and not give up on the relationship. Fast forward 5 years and we are married. Insanely happy. And I simply can't imagine my life without him. Love takes time, but a solid relationship takes even longer. Listen to your gut and you should be fine. Story 14. I'm going to sound like a jerk, but I have continued dating someone I wasn't truly in love with. This girl approached me at a bar while I was out with some friends and started talking to me. She was cute and funny, but we weren't compatible intellectually. The third time I met up with her, she casually mentioned she had some tickets to a National Football League game a couple of hours from where we live. She had bought them for her ex-boyfriend, but they broke up before the game, and she kept them. I asked her what the teams were. One of the teams happened to be my favorite team. I thought if I played my cards right, maybe she would ask me to go with her, and I would get to see my favorite team and maybe get to really like this girl along the way. And that's what happened. The seats were excellent, and the girl was very fun at first, but after a couple of months, she became controlling and insecure. We remain friends today, and I got my dog best friend from her. Story 15. When I met my husband, I didn't feel butterflies. I thought he was handsome and I admired him, but I didn't feel euphoric as I had with men I had previously met. It was a slow burn, but after a month of hanging out, we became official, and then things really blossomed. After 1 month as a couple, I realized I was in love with him. Story 16. There are probably already too many comments for you to see this, but I think I have a different answer. There is no inherently right or wrong decision here. It's one of those things where every case is different, and you really won't know what's best until you try. I disagree with people saying that being in love is fleeting, but that's because I don't equate being in love with infatuation, although I think infatuation is an important experience in a relationship too. To me, being in love means feeling a deep connection and attraction to someone that you don't often feel with friends, although I admit that there's totally such a thing as romantic friendships where no physical attraction is present. There's a certain kind of chemistry where being with that person feels as natural as being with yourself. And yes, I think that's important. I know what that feels like, and anything less would make me feel like I was missing out. That having been said, falling in love like that is something that happens over time. You may start out being really into someone, then your feelings wane, but then it comes back again. You're not going to be 100% in love all the time, and that's okay. My advice would be to give it a chance, see how it goes. Be honest with her about where you are. Chances are, she's in the exact same place as you. Story 17. My advice is if you think she is in love with you, do not string her along. It is going to be difficult, but the emotional fallout if you break up with her too soon is so much easier to handle compared to breaking up too late. Story 18. My girlfriend felt this way about me for almost a year, and when we talked about it, we decided to break up. Fast forward 6 months. She noticed how much she misses me and how much she loves me. We're back together now, but those were some dark times. Story 19. My first real relationship, we dated for 3 months and I was too nervous to break up with her. I was bad at being put on the spot at the time. I was stupid then. I realized I wanted to break up, but I was still with her because I couldn't tell her. Eventually, I got her to break up with me by ignoring her. I'm more emotionally mature now, and looking back, I should have just told her to her face that I didn't want to be with her anymore. Story 20. As a lady, I would be a bit concerned if a man told me he loved me before the 6-month mark. My last partner started hinting at around 4 months, and I told him I needed more time. He said it at 5 months, and I advised him that it takes me a little longer to get there. It was around 7 months before I was in love with him. It was a really great relationship that ended mutually after 1.5 years because we both realized we had different goals. Story 21. My friend, I'm sure you've received this advice already in the discussion, but I want to add my voice. When I was young, I put a lot of pressure on myself and my relationships. I had many expectations and doubts, and I wanted to compare my relationships with those of my friends or to some other invisible standard. You don't need to do that. My advice for you is to enjoy the moment and enjoy the person. If you like spending time with her, then spend time with her. If it becomes very serious, then let it. You don't need to establish a 5-year plan after dating for 3 months. I learned this lesson by accident. When I met my partner, she was only going to be in town for the summer, so we had a kind of deadline on the relationship, you know? It was intense, yes, but casual as well, because she was leaving in 3 months, so it couldn't be serious. But that deadline was so freeing because it meant that I didn't get stuck in my head. I didn't put that pressure on myself because there was no future to plan. So, now it's 5 years later and we're married and thinking about our future. It's your first relationship, and that's kind of scary and new. Just relax. Don't miss the moment. You don't need to be concerned with whether or not you're in love. That time will come or not on its own. Story 22. She was fun and really liked having sex, so I wasn't eager to move on. Sorry if that sounds callous. We were friends and all, and I respected her. I just knew we didn't have a future. Story 23. I dated a girl for about a year. I knew about 3 months in that I needed to get out. She had some controlling and insecurity issues. When I actually broke up with her, she tried to kill herself. It was a huge ordeal and a very long story. But I'm not sure what to tell you. There are different ways to fall in love. A previous girlfriend I knew within a few weeks, but I screwed that up. Still bothers me to this day, and it's been 7 years. I go with my gut now. If I can't feel it within a few months, I depart. My gut is usually correct. Story 24. Well, honestly, you should give it more time. Some people need more time than others to open up or start to develop feelings. If I were you, I would ask myself, do I tolerate this person? Or is it nice to be by their side? Is it just nice? Or do I get excited to be with them? Because if you're more indifferent to that person, it's not a good sign. Story 25. I think you're all right. Everyone moves at different paces. You don't need to be in love with her 3 months in, and if you still like her, then I would keep doing what you guys are doing. Love will come when it comes. Story 26. You have not been in love before, so you do not really know what it is like. It is entirely possible you could be in love but just not realizing it or something. Do some reflection on this. Story 27. Yes, I've realized that when I fall too fast, I end up acting crazy and drive the guy away. This was pretty much me my entire life until I met my husband. I wasn't really into him and just kept dating him because he was cool. It took a couple of months, but I finally felt like being in love was real. For once. So much better than anything I felt before. Story 28. No, I dated a guy for 6 months and he was great. He was what I really was looking for in a person. Funny, intelligent, a good father to his child. But I had almost zero feelings for him. I even gave myself a talking to, but there was zero chemistry. I was mad at myself for not developing feelings. Story 29. Okay, time to bring a different view on what love is. Love is not a feeling. It is a verb, it is an action. You do love, you show love. Don't get me wrong, you can feel love too, but if the love isn't there, but you like them, go for it, push for it, work at it. Story 30. There's always some feeling, whether it's lust, love, admiration, self-gratification, social reward, entertainment, friendship, and so on. All of these things kind of mixed together, but I did have some online relationships, one-night stands, and so on in the 1990s. What I found is that being with a best friend type who happens to be attractive in some way absolutely wins 20,000% over someone you are madly infatuated with. Over the long term, feelings ebb, flow, and change. Sex type, frequency, and reward change too. But if you enjoy some of the same recreation, communicate on the same level, and are compelled to remain honest and communicative, then you never have to worry. It's not magically effortless, of course, but friendship lasts way longer and helps you get out of your own way, get less upset, more easily let things go, and give the benefit of the doubt. Hey, hot friend, let us help each other's sexual frustration is better than, hey, intense love interest. Let's go do things you hate doing because sex isn't really doing it for us right now. Story 31. You've gotten plenty of comments, but I'll say this. Falling in love and growing in love are different. I fell in love with a few women in my 20s, and they were difficult situations because I was so infatuated with them to the point of not being myself completely. My two successful long-term relationships, including my current significant other, began like this, and I had the same questions, especially since she made it clear she was very into me and not going anywhere. I wondered if I would be doing her a favor by breaking it off, but I realized she has qualities I've always wanted in a partner. I found her very attractive, and we had no real issues to push me away. I decided to keep putting in the effort and communicated the above to her when she expressed concern, and ever since then, we've been amazingly growing in love together. I can confidently say it was only a few months later that I realized I loved her. Growing in love is the conscious effort you make to put in your best effort, and I find it to be the most natural way to healthfully fall in love. Story 32. Depends on how old you are and how you both view the relationship. If she thinks she is on a path towards long-term commitment and you do not think you will ever get there, then you should probably tell her. If you are both young and having fun and have not defined where you are going, then carry on. That does not mean hide behind technicalities, though, but only you will know whether or not you are doing that. The rule of thumb is do not mislead your partner, be honest with yourself, and be forthright in your actions.